So our next guest is Kevin Kahn. He is a candidate for the 1st District U.S. Rep for District 1, which Harrison resides in. He'd like to introduce himself and tell you a little bit about his platform.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and esteemed council members. As you mentioned, my name is Kevin Kahn, and I'm running for Congress. I'm an 18-year resident of this congressional district. I'm an entrepreneur, a local business owner. My company, K2 Industrial Controls, is a manufacturer's representative organization that works with small and medium-sized American manufacturers of industrial equipment, helping them export their made in the USA products. I've dedicated my career over the past 25 years, first working at U.S. manufacturing and then through my own company to support local Cincinnati manufacturing, Ohio manufacturing, and other USA manufacturing. I've served on boards of both public companies and nonprofit companies alike. I've been what people refer to as a road warrior during my career, but in the time that have been home, I've dedicated a lot of that time to youth sports. I've been an ice hockey coach in both the Cincinnati and Dayton systems. Mark, you've got some phenomenal hockey players here in Harrison, so I hope that next time I'm here I see an ice hockey rink. Yeah, exactly. And I currently serve on the Sycamore High School Ice Hockey Association board as the vice chair, and I'm the high school's team manager. I'm running for Congress because I think that at our federal level, our elected officials are failing us. And I'm running as a libertarian in the Libertarian Party because I believe a policy of small government that's fiscally prudent, that doesn't obstruct any individual from living their life to the freest and fullest way possible, as long as they're not infringing on anybody else living their life to the freest and fullest, is the best form of government. And I do believe that our founding fathers, when they debated and framed and wrote the Constitution, had that in mind. And I'd like to let the voters of Harrison know that this year, for the first time in a number of years, at the primary elections on March 17th, you'll be able to pull a Libertarian ballot if you feel like supporting those principles. As far as my platform, I've got 3 major issues that I'm focusing on. The first is congressional term limits. Americans decided in 1776 that they wanted to be free from a ruling class, and the decision was ratified when we adopted the Constitution as the law of our land. It's been about a quarter of a century since we've had a federal government looking at working towards a balanced budget, and a lot of the representatives that we have in Congress now have been there that long, and they're just not getting it done. Both major parties are supporting big government, and it's just the difference between the two are the priorities of where they want to spend our money or put us further into debt or put our kids and our grandkids further into debt. Representatives stop focusing on the needs of their constituents and start focusing on the needs of pleasing their lobbyists who finance the next election. So the best way to end that is to stop the next elections, right? We have to limit that. So I have a plan that I'd like to try to implement that would limit House of Representatives Congress people to 3 terms, senators to 2 terms. Our incumbent Congressman, Steve Chabot, signed an agreement, a pledge that he would work for that too, as he was going from his 12th term into his 13th term. Now he's going for his 14th term. It hasn't gotten done, but term limits are good for the people. It would lessen the importance of money in elections. It would focus the representatives' decision-making onto what's good for the constituency and not good for their benefactors. And if I am elected and I can't get term limits enacted, I still pledge that I would follow that system of 3 for the Congress and 2 for the Senate myself. The second issue that I'm looking at very heavily, very strongly, is what's going on with the discussion of our Second Amendment rights. Our nation was birthed from the rights enshrined in our Second Amendment. When Paul Revere rode through Lexington and Concord saying the redcoats are coming, they were coming to take gunpowder away from the colonials and disarm them. The ability to defend oneself from societal dangers, as well as tyrannical oppression from the government, is a natural right that we don't give up when we individually freely vest power in our own governments. Both Republicans and Democrats are floating plans that will infringe on this right. The government earns its power from the people. The people don't earn liberty and freedom from the government. It's a natural right. History around the world shows that once the right to bear arms are gone, the government can quickly move and attack other rights that are guaranteed within our Bill of Rights. So on the issue of the Second Amendment, this is an issue that I won't waver on. The last issue that I'm focusing on, which is very close to me, is immigration. I have an immigrant wife. I have 2 children. One was born here, one was born overseas. When we look at the different characteristics that make America special, I don't think we can overlook that one of our pillars of strength is the diversity of our communities. We need to continue to offer people the American dream. It's what makes us unique and gives America an aura of invincibility when other people think about us. The story of America is itself a story of immigrants, and I would think that everybody in here has an immigrant story, whether it's themselves, a spouse, adopted children, parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents. We can't tell the world that we're full and that people should go back to where they came from, or we don't have room. We need to welcome those that want to contribute time, energy, passion, and resources into building more prosperous communities and call the USA their home. Immigrants are our employers and they're skilled laborers, they're service workers and they're consumers, they're economy builders, and they're charitable givers. So I want to work to enable a free and fair system of immigration that will be a path of those that want to contribute to the USA. They're hungry to build a better life and recognize that each individual as a human being has natural rights and dignity and should be treated humanely. That's what I came here tonight to tell you. Thank you. If you'd like to follow my candidacy, my website is Kahn, like the hot dog, K-A-H-N, the number 4, KahnForCongress.com, and I have a Facebook page, which is also Kahn for Congress. I am going to be in the back for the rest of the meeting, and if anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask for me, I'm happy to stay and answer anything that anyone has. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Kevin, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Or maybe you could just share with the group, I think the story about your I guess it was a daughter trying to come back into the country is a compelling story about what's wrong with some of the immigration in this country. I don't know if you'd be willing to share that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I have 2 children, very wide age range. My son is a junior at Sycamore, he's 17. My daughter is 2. My son was born here in Cincinnati. My daughter was born in the birth country of my wife, Mongolia. And in the summers when the kids are out of school, we go back and spend some time over there. A lot of my business work is in Asia, so it's easy for me to work from there. And when we came back this summer, my daughter carries both passports from the U.S. and from Mongolia. And it's interesting because in Mongolia, like a lot of countries in Asia, their surnames are actually the first name of their father. So my daughter's Mongolian passport, her last name is Kevin David. And when we were coming back to the U.S., at going through customs and immigration, we were getting questioned on why did we travel to some countries with the Mongolian passport and why some with her USA passport. And it's a good question, but the reality is there's almost no country in the world that she could go to needing a visa between both of those passports. So sometimes it was easier to travel on the Mongolian one and sometimes on the USA one. But the immigration officer was having a little bit difficulty understanding what was going on. And I was sitting there thinking that this person is actually thinking of separating my daughter from the family because she just doesn't understand what was happening. And that put the fear of God into me. And I would not wish that fear on anybody. So when I came back, I contacted the State Libertarian Party, and I said, this is the year I'm ready to do something, because it's enough. And that's why I have immigration as one of my platform issues. Thanks for the question.
Thank you.
So if anybody has questions after the meeting, Kevin will be available to answer them.
Thank you.